Hey guys, this is Trent, and I'm here to shoot a video giving you a tour of what the N900 is all about from a hardware standpoint as well as a software standpoint in regards to its operating system. The Nokia N900 is very special because it takes the internet tablet and combines it with the capability of a GSM phone. So it's a very neat privilege to be able to come across a device of this caliber for the first time. Now, the first thing you will see on the Nokia N900 is a 3.5-inch resistive touchscreen that can also be used with a stylus that's included on the device as well. In the midst of this tour, I am going to be using this plastic stylus to pinpoint different parts of the N900 device. At the upper left-hand corner of the touchscreen, you have the ambient light sensor, the front-facing video camera, and the proximity sensor. Below those items, you're going to have the earpiece for any sort of incoming audio for voice calls or voicemails or what have you. And then below that, you then have your notification light. This notification light has the ability to blink in 4 different colors, if I'm not mistaken. And these 4 colors are white, orange, blue, and green. The white light tends to be illuminated when the phone is powering on or off. The green light comes on when the N900 is fully charged. The blue light acts as a notification for any incoming messages. And the orange light comes on when the Nokia N900 is actively charging. At the top of the N900, you have a rocker key, which can be operated for either volume or zooming functions, depending on what application you happen to be in. Next to that, you've got a power key, a camera shutter key, and then you have your infrared port. On the right side of the device, you have a stereo speaker, a lock switch that operates by sliding, a 3.5mm headset jack for headphones, a microphone, and then below that you have the bay that holds the stylus, like so. The stylus is composed entirely of black plastic, which matches the entire body of the Nokia N900 device, and it feels pretty sturdy in my hand. There hasn't been any sign of bending or creaking whatsoever. On the left side, you have another stereo speaker, a microUSB port, you have an eyelet that is also included for the installation of a wrist strap for the device. At the bottom of the N900, you don't have anything to show except for the bottom part of the bay that holds the stylus. The back of the Nokia N900 features a battery door that feels very secure once it is snapped in place. Now, the black matte plastic material that makes up this battery door, as well as most of the Nokia N900, tends to not bring too much attention with smudges and fingerprints, like many glossy items that are already out there. When you see the battery door at first glance, there appears to be hardly any way to get it open, but if you take a close look at the right side of the Nokia N900 in landscape, you will look behind the speaker to find a groove in which you stick your fingernail to pry open the battery door, like so. Once the battery door is removed from the N900, you will of course see the battery that is installed for this device, the BL-5J model, and up underneath this battery you have the port that holds your SIM card for your GSM phone service. Next to the bay for the battery, you have the sliding bay for the MicroUSD card, and I of course have my 16GB MicroUSD installed on my own N900. Below the placement of the microSD card, you also have this little tiny knob here that is used to hold the wrist strap in place once it is threaded through this eyelet hole. Now, to place the battery door back on, you will see this central hinge that must be matched up with the spacing on the phone so that it can close up and snap in place like so. All right. This now brings us to the camera unit, which showcases a couple of things that you may find familiar from previously released Nokia products. You have a kickstand that is featured. This same kickstand allows for the N900 to be placed at an angle on a flat surface in order to watch any kind of multimedia content. And once this kickstand is closed, it stays in place by a magnet that is placed right underneath it. One neat design feature about this camera unit is the fact that it is bordered by a ring of metallic chrome that really pops from the prevalence of black plastic that makes up this phone. A feature that is recognized from the original N97 is the sliding lens feature, which then reveals a dual LED flash as well as the camera lens itself. Now, last but not least on the N900, you also have a sliding QWERTY keypad that features 3 rows of characters. A couple of good points about the QWERTY keypad are that the tops are rounded so that you can feel them easily as you're typing, and the tactile feedback happens to be good as well. Now, at first glance, all of the keys of this QWERTY keypad are jammed together in the same tight area with no sense of spacing in between them at all. And the lack of spacing in between each of the keys can be a pain whenever you're trying to type fast with your fingernails or your thumb tips. Now, if I had the chance to be extra critical of this QWERTY keypad, I would say that I wish Nokia would have added a 4th row of characters to this QWERTY setup. Now, if you take a close look here, when you slide the top part of the device upwards, you will see that much more of the main body of the phone is available for this screen to slide up just a little bit more to accommodate a 4th row. So why Nokia didn't include that is beyond me, but I can only assume that they were trying to match the same kind of QWERTY layout on the N97 and the N97 Mini, being that those have only 3 rows as well. And just like on the N97 Mini, you have directional keys instead of a directional keypad. Now, in contrast to all of the matte black plastic that makes up this phone, you have a very glossy black metallic ring that goes around the top sliding screen of the device. While this ring appears to give the phone a somewhat high-end feel, it does tend to show fingerprints and smudges very easily, so just keep that in mind. Now, what's most surprising about the sliding feature on the N900 is that it is not as impressive as the original N97 or the N97 Mini for that matter. When you slide the phone open, you will notice that there is no sort of sliding mechanism that kicks in. There's nothing. It's basically a manual slider that is activated by the motion of your own hand. Once the sliding QWERTY keypad is opened on the N900, if you take a look at the back of the screen itself, you will notice a couple of features that are printed about the phone itself. The fact that it has an ARM Cortex-A8 CPU built in, as well as 32 gigabytes of internal storage space, and then, of course, with any Nokia device, it is designed in Finland. And fortunately, my N900 also happens to be manufactured in Finland as well, so lucky me.